Welcome back to Operation Football, Operation Football preview, I should say, our season finale of Operation Football, because we have officially hit the postseason, and we're just going to be dwindling down every week from here on out. So we'll be including some of our high school coverage over on our other WDTN Plus program, 2 Sports Overtime. But week 11, week 1 of the postseason, and we've got almost 36 local teams that have made the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a bunch of them, and it's crazy to believe that Week 10 came and gone, and it's already now time for the postseason. The journey to Canton beginning for all these area teams, and it should be an exciting kind of fight to the finish to see who comes out top on the end in any of these divisions. And I'm sure there's a couple teams that probably very favored to be hoisting that state champion trophy at the end of the year. Marion local. But the mainstay of 12 wins of Christmas for how many ever years in a row. They may never be off.
5?
Yeah, it's been a bunch. So even before then, they were probably making it because they were still kicking everybody's behind. But regardless, Week 10 kind of ended with a bang, for one team, in our final game of the week there. G-Wonk rivalry showdown. Very storied rivalry, but this one belonging to the Wayne Warriors, with Wayne beating rivals Centerville 47-27. Wasn't particularly close. Early on, it seemed like it was a good game. And Kayler, you were there for that one, but it kind of just turned into a Warrior fest after that there, and especially in the second half.
It was a lot of points scored in a short amount of time. We exited the first quarter scoreless still. It was just punts back and forth, turnovers, interceptions, fumbles back and forth. It was really a defensive slugfest in the first quarter, and even exiting the second quarter, I'm looking at it right now. Well, just kidding. The second quarter was when everything happened.
Yeah.
So the first quarter, it felt like, oh man, this might be close. Centerville's really stifling this Wayne offense and creating some turnovers, but then Wayne just really woke up in the second quarter and poured on 33 points in the second alone to go into halftime up 33-13. And it was really in every facet of the game. It was long offensive touchdowns. It was defensive touchdowns on a pick six. It was a couple of special teams touchdowns even too. And I say a couple, literally they had 2 kickoff or punt returns for a touchdown as well. So yeah, Wayne ended up winning 47-27, not particularly close in the end. Even that late touchdown from Centerville was pretty much in garbage time. There was going to be no coming back from down 27 with 5 minutes to go. So yeah, just a dominant 3 quarters for the Warriors.
Seemed like a good game early on. At one point it was, or twice it was tied 7-7 early in the first, and it was then in the second quarter it was 13-13. Wayne went up 20-13, and then from there it really was just all Warriors really after that. But
looking
credit
at
to
it
Centerville.
by the numbers, like offensively, Centerville, outplayed Wayne offensively, 359 yards to Wayne's 339, 183 passing to Wayne's 168, 176 rushing to Wayne's 171. So fairly
almost identical time of possession too.
But Centerville winning the offensive battle, but like I said, it was those defensive plays and those special teams plays that ended up getting Wayne over the edge, because Isaiah Thompson, who was a running back, he scored an offensive touchdown for Wayne, but also had a pick six as well, which was pretty cool for him on his senior night. Yeah. He's kind of he's not your typical, secondary player. I don't know if maybe he's not a secondary player, maybe he's a linebacker, but he's a bigger boy, so as a running back, kind of a fullback type build. So to see him get a pick six was really cool. And then Jameer Brown, of course, the Ohio State commit, he had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And it's like, I remember thinking right before they kicked off, I literally thought in my head, surely they'll kick it left because Jameer was right. No, they kicked it right, and he took it to the house immediately.
Right to the track
It was
star.
like my thoughts played out in real life.
Yeah.
So he returned it 87 yards for a touchdown.
Fast.
And then James Dyer, the fourth, returned a punt 65 yards for a touchdown as well, and that was all within the second quarter. All the plays I just told you about, the pick six, the kick return, and the punt return, all within the second quarter.
You can't kick it to the state champion track star either.
It was just so funny because rarely does it happen where you're thinking something and then it plays out in front of you.
Yeah, right. good stuff from Wayne in that game, and it really was, like you said, very comparable stat sheet, but it was the big plays that were the dagger and kind of the deciding factor for Wayne as they finished their regular season 6-4, 5-2 in the GWAC, but second place tying with a three-way tie for second. Springboro, Wayne, and Fairmont all 5-2, all behind the GWAC champion Springfield Wildcats. All Springfield needed to do was take care of business against a winless Northmont team on Friday night, which we expected them to do. They did. They won 56-7. They finished 6-4 overall as well. However, they were 6-1 in the meaningful GWAC games, which mattered most. They only lost to Fairmont, which they've struggled against Firebirds. It's as most teams do to stop such a dynamic triple option offense as that. It throws a lot of defenses for a loop. It's very difficult. As we saw Wayne lose to Beaver Creek, who runs the same exact thing. Beaver Creek beating Wayne for the first time since 2012. Beavers run the triple option, so it's tough. You have to be prepared for it. And you got to, and contrary to that, it's hard to prepare for it. But either way, Springfield gets it done. Their first GWAC championship since they won back-to-back years in 2021 and 2022 when they were quarterbacked by none other than Bryce Schondelmeyer when they went on to 3 straight state championship appearances and unfortunately lost to those. So we could see the Wildcats making another deep run in the playoffs under Maurice Douglas, as we see them do every year. They always seem kind of like a late bloomer when the season gets going. Just quickly.
One final note on the game of the week. It was kind of not funny, but interesting. Centerville played Wayne twice last year, once in the regular season, once in the postseason. Centerville beat Wayne both times, ending Wayne's season. This time around, facing off in the regular season at the end of the year, Wayne ended Centerville's season because Centerville was holding on to a little bit of hope that a win could have propelled them into the postseason. It was still a long shot, but it was a possibility. So the loss to Wayne was really the dagger for Centerville. So, gosh, I mean, when was the last time Centerville didn't make a postseason?
Oh, it's probably been a while. We'd have to go back and look, but I mean, it was. I remember being at that. It was the Division I regional final game at Welcome Stadium. A really cold night, and Centerville looked just so good in that game. They went on to fall to Moeller in the state semifinal. But it was, a little bit of revenge for Wayne there, like you mentioned. So pretty cool to see, that kind of play out. But when we look at the way the playoffs shaped out for a couple of our area teams here.
And that's another funny thing. Springfield won the GWAC, but Springboro got a higher seeding and got a bye in the first round. It's just interesting how they have the system set up here in Ohio.
And the highest local Division I team, Troy. In their first year in Troy.
In MVL.
In the MVL, had the most computer points.
I mean, I got to look at Troy's schedule because no way they hardly played any Division I teams. So the fact that they were, I'm going to be honest,
it was Middletown. That was about
part of this, a good chunk of the season, they were the top seed.
Right.
Of any of our Division I schools, which is just kind of funny, like looking at their schedule as compared to the GWAC schools.
Yeah, it was just Middletown, if I'm not mistaken. Xenia is not Division I. Was Carrollton not Division I? Piqua not Division I. Fairborn not Division I.
Xenia's Division II, so that's still a good amount
still
of
helps
points.
them, but they lost to Middletown 28-20, and that was their lone Division I school they played.
So a D2 win over Xenia got them a few points. For sure, got them a lot of those points because they, like I said, they were the 1 seed for a good chunk of the season. But then, it's all D3s and 4s for the rest of the year. So quite interesting how Ohio has everything set up.
Now, they did have the best overall record, of course, of the GWAC schools, too. So, I mean, they finished 8-1. Absolutely, yeah.
So
it is wild how it shakes up. When we look at Region 2, which features Troy at the 2 seed, Springboro at the 4 seed, Springfield at the 5 seed, Wayne at the 6 seed. How about all 3 of those right in a row there? Then next, you have Fairmont in the 9 seed. And then not making the cut is Beaver Creek, Centerville, and then, of course, Northmont. So
and Miamisburg.
Thank you. Missed them. So that's kind of where it looks like right now. And, looking, Troy's got the bye. Springboro's got a bye. Springfield will host Marysville in that first game. And Wayne will take on Galloway Westland. Is that going to be an away game or is Wayne
Home.
home? Is okay. So that one at Hyde Camp Stadium as well. And then Fairmont is going to be on the. I see what you did here on the thing.
Versus
I got you.
and at.
Fairmont at Lebanon for their game. That's going to be a pretty cool matchup to see the 8-9 seed teams go off, and Fairmont and Lebanon. If you're Fairmont, you got to just think our advantage is this run game that we have, and we are playing now teams that typically don't see this, whereas Fairmont's playing the GWalk teams. They know what to expect. They know what they're getting. And, Lebanon's going to have to be preparing for something they don't normally see. So that's kind of the competitive edge for the Firebirds. So those are our Division I matchups. Again, Troy, Springboro with the bye, Springfield hosting Marysville, Wayne hosting Galloway Westland, and Fairmont on the road at Lebanon. That's it for Division I.
I have a question.
Yep.
Just generally in the state of Ohio, is
in this state of Ohio,
is it more of like a air raid spread offense in Ohio, or is it more the ground game? Because I feel like
it depends by region.
I was gonna say, I feel like way more teams than I've ever covered before here.
Yeah.
Run the ball, yeah, and have some variation of a run first offense.
I think it is just like kind of like that, just the way, just it's kind of cliche, but like, oh, blue collar Ohio, gritty, like we're gonna run the ball down your throat kind of thing. I think it is part of that for most teams. However, I think it's also just like, it sounds stereotypical, but I mean, it's just like the bigger schools get more athletes, so they're typically spread out. The smaller schools are more gritty, physical, maybe not as talented, but stronger, maybe better coached sometimes, or maybe just more disciplined, or I don't know. It kind of just depends. But I mean, you get a team like, Fairmont's a big school and they run the ball, so I guess it just depends on who the coach are. But like, yeah, when
Alter, who gets to kind of have their lion's share, like they get a choice at the guys that they have to some degree.
I think what you see though is when we have some of these really good schools that are so good at running the ball, and they are. Obviously it's like, it's hard to tell because then they go and they play teams like from Columbus and then in Cincinnati area, and they just seem way too quick for them and too fast and too athletic. So I think that's where we see some of our smaller mid-market Dayton teams losing midway through the playoffs because they're playing teams from, way bigger schools that have that ability to,
bigger
be able to
metro,
do stuff.
bigger cities, bigger mix of people.
I think it just depends.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably compared to what you're used to in Texas, probably a little bit more run heavy typically.
Yeah,
I would say so.
That was kind of the characteristic that was unique about some of the West Texas teams, particularly, is that the rest of the state very much spread air raid versus several West Texas teams were that gritty ground and pound, run the ball. So
I think
anyways,
I think that's where we lose.
And the same thing would happen. Second, third round, all of our teams would lose to like the Dallas schools, the Houston schools that spread the ball out.
Yeah, that's typically kind of how it ends up. So, but you can never. High school football is kind of, one of those, you never know.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see those guys. We'll take a quick look at Division II before we head to break here. Trotwood Madison still looking strong here. They are on a bye as well as Xenia. Xenia finishing the regular season at 7-2. I'm sorry, 8-2 overall, 7-2 in the conference, on their way to a Valley Division title. Up next in Division II, it's Butler on the road at Harrison, and then Piqua on the road at Withrow. So it's like all MVL teams minus Trotwood in Division II. So cool to see those guys moving on as well. Division IV, it is just Valley View and Bellbrook and Fenwick. Those three, and two of them are playing each other. I'm sorry, Brookville. Thank you. Brookville and Fenwick are going to knock each other out. So we're guaranteed at least one team in the second round of the regionals in Division IV. Valley View. Thank you. Yeah, because of Valley View out of that game specifically. Valley View has the bye in Division IV. We'll get to rest of Division 5, 6, and rounding out 7. You know who we're going to be talking about in that division. And then, of course, we're going to go back into Division 3 because that is going to be our playoff game of the week. More on that coming up right here after the break on Operation Football Preview.
Welcome back to the season finale of Operation Football Preview. I want to quickly run down all of our teams that earned a first round bye here locally, just so you can hear them all in one place. In Division 1, Troy and Springboro are off. In Division 2, Trotwood, Madison, and Xenia. D3, Wapakoneta and Tippecanoe, of course, after a 10-0 season. In D4, Valley View. In D5, Indian Lake and Miami East. That was kind of a sleeper one for this season, Joey, right?
Great season for Miami East out of the Three Rivers. They ended up winning that conference, I believe. We'll pull it up right now real quickly as I drop my paper on the ground.
I'll move on to Division 6 real quick while you do that.
9-1 finished the regular season, 7-0 in conference play. Miami East wins their first ever since the inception of the Three Rivers. So Miami East, Three Rivers Conference champs for the first time ever.
You want to pull me up while you get your paper, you can do that. In Division 6...
Nobody wants to watch me bend down.
In Division 6, Tri-Village, Northeastern out of Springfield and Mechanicsburg. And last but certainly not least, in Division 7, Marion Local, after they completed their 6th consecutive undefeated regular season.
It's unbelievable. 3 1-point wins this season for Sales.
All in the MAC.
Anna and Coldwater. I did not expect that Coldwater game to be as close. It's always a great rivalry, but had heard that, Coldwater maybe didn't have one of their better years overall as they typically have been so dominant. But 7-6, I mean, what a game. I mean, I don't know how they continue to do it. And now
Flip it around, Joey.
I
hate it.
I got the Fairmont cheerleaders got me on that one time. I was there to shoot cheerleaders of the week. And I said, can we do this chant in just a few minutes? They said, oh, yeah, a few minutes? How many? 4, 5, 6? And I went, yeah, maybe 6, 7. They went, oh, 6, 7. I was like, I just got...
You set yourself up for that.
I know. I got Gen Z'd, so whatever.
You're a Gen Z.
No, I'm a little. 1998.
Oh.
I think I'm like the cutoff. Anyway.
I think I'm right at the cutoff, too.
Yeah.
Turn of the century.
There you go.
Well, we'll return back up now that we've run through the bye weeks. We'll return back up to Division 3, where we have a really compelling matchup between two local teams that have already faced off once this year, don't like each other, consider themselves rivals. Mm-hmm. It is Bellbrook and Alter, a little rematch of our Week 5 game of the week.
Yeah, pretty cool. Alter was able to share the GCL co-ed title for the first time since 2018. That was back when it was in 2 different divisions. So you had a North and a Central division of the GCL when they shared it with Baden, who's had it. I'm sorry, when they shared it. When they shared it with Baden, who's had it ever since then, except for 2019-2020 when Baden and CJ shared it. But Alter needed Baden to lose to McNick on Friday. Baden going into that one undefeated, and McNick comes in, the hero for the Alter Knights, and beats Baden, the Rams, 17-10. That puts both Baden and Alter at 4-1 in the league play. So good for the Knights to take home a little bit of hardware here before playoffs get going, and now their eyes are set on the big prize. And what better time to start off the playoffs than with this kind of seemingly, unbeknownst to me, like really hatred rivalry that I didn't even really learn about it until this year, that I didn't realize that these two teams didn't like each other.
You wouldn't think it. And I was going back and looking at some of the things that we said in Week 5 leading up to that game. Right. And, it was like they've only played each other like 4 times in the last decade or something, or even maybe beyond a decade.
It's not like Centerville Wayne and Piqua Troy. It's not some,
But apparently these guys just know each other really well from the proximity and the size of the school, and kind of a public school versus private school aspect to it too. So
very similar play styles.
If we rewind to that week, it was not good. Yeah, Alter just had their way with Bellbrook the whole night. Alter won that game 21-3.
Yeah. And it's been a down year for Bellbrook. I mean, you could look at the record. They went 3-1. The Swabble 6-4 overall, but that is uncharacteristic from what we've seen from a Jeff Jenkins Bellbrook squad.
They had won, what, 5 or 6 straight?
They were going for 6 straight Swabble titles, and they lost that due to a 3-1 finish in the Swabble. Franklin getting their first one, I believe, since 2019.
Whatever 6 years ago
was.
So
Franklin winning their first Southwestern Buckeye League title, going undefeated in Swabble play. But Bellbrook, they always have a really good team, but they lost that first one at Tippecanoe 21-0. But last year, they lost that first one to Tippecanoe in similar fashion. It wasn't close. And then they went undefeated from there on out, made it going all the way, I believe, to the regional finals, still trying to get over the hump of advancing to the program's
and really,
first
I think,
ever state semis.
Burbacher at Tippecanoe has got to be cursing Bellbrook right now because they counted on Bellbrook having a really good season to give them more computer points.
Right.
Burbacher and his computer points.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they are right there in terms of that computer point average, right behind none other than, of course, London, both 10-0 seasons.
I mean, Tippecanoe was the 1 seed going into the final week. Tippecanoe scored 77 points in their 10th game of the year and still slipped down to the 2 seed. I know Burbacher is just rolling right now about that.
Yeah, it's tough, though, when you get, two, like London. I believe London is the one that knocked out Bellbrook from last year's playoffs. They did. And Bellbrook only lost that game 13-0. And we're talking about a London team that dominates competition. I mean, I think this is how many perfect seasons in a row? Oh, gosh, I got to go back here. Let's see. London, 10-0 this year. Obviously, they were perfect last year. They went 14-1. 2023, they were 11-1. 2022, 8-3. So they've had 3 straight perfect seasons. And Tippecanoe just getting their second back to going 10-0 for the first time in back-to-back years. First time they've done that in school history. So you have the 2 best teams, in that region at the 1-2 seed. London getting the 1 seed, Tippecanoe getting the 2 seed, Alter in the 6 seed spot, and then it is Bellbrook in the 11. And then that is it. Bellefontaine and unfortunately Franklin, who gets the Swabble title, they needed to beat Brookville in that final game of the season to make the playoffs.
It's crazy. I don't understand it.
It's tighter now at the top 12.
But winning your conference and then not making the concept of that is just so foreign to me.
Yeah, right. Because in like the NFL, you win the AFC North, you have a spot. So makes no sense.
In Texas, it was every conference champion.
Right.
Well, it was the top 4 in every conference. That's how they did it.
Yeah. But
in Texas.
Should be exciting to see those 2. I'm sure Bellbrook's just elated to get a second crack at Alter after what we saw in that game. I would expect it to be a lot closer. I
think they were missing some guys that week too. I mean, it's going to depend on the health.
And Alter, I think, is dealing with some more injuries again, which unfortunately they do.
It's going to depend on the health of both teams in this one, and I'm excited for it. I don't know for sure if it's at Roush Stadium, but if it's at Roush Stadium, looking forward to a great Friday night there.
Yep, that'll be our playoff game of the week. So Kayler will be staying the whole game at that one to get you the full highlights and post-game sound from the winner. We always love these local-on-local playoff matchups, but we're going to have, obviously, a handful of these. We're going to take a look and see what will be possible for us to get to these games. But, of course, we're going to have all these scores for you of every local team in.
And if you want to know every local team that's in, we've got a article up on our website right now, WDTN.com. It's got every playoff team in the whole state.
Yep.
We've bolded our local teams that are in the postseason. So if you want to see all these lined up together, that's where you can find it.
Yep, and then just as for the rest of them, Division 5, Arcanum and Preble Shawnee, these are the local-on-locals. Arcanum and Preble Shawnee will face in D5 and D6. Covington will face Coldwater, and in D7, New Bremen and Ansonia. Everybody else that is obviously in is either on a bye or playing a non-area team. As Kayler mentioned, be sure to head to WDTN.com to see all of those playoff seedings. And then, of course, be sure to join us once again. Football comes back to the Miami, playoff football coming back, rather, to the Miami Valley, and Operation Football, your home for all of it. Kayler Smith, Joey DiBardino.
Oh,
we'll
one
see
thing before we go. Again, programming note. Just one more time as a reminder before we go. This is our final Operation Football preview show of the season.
God, it went quick. That's why I'm like saying goodbye. Like, we'll see him next week.
I know.
Just join us on Sports Overtime.
So join us on Sports Overtime, where we'll touch on all the playoffs going forward, as well as all the other sports news that we talk about week in and week out. So you will not miss out on your high school football fix. It'll just be elsewhere from now on.
Stick with us. We're going to have everything for you, all things high school football playoffs. The road to Canton fully underway this Friday. We couldn't be more excited. I know. Let me pull it up really quick before we run out of time. I got to turn off that music. We're in there. Playoff time. Woo! All right. We'll play music.
Send Kayler to Canton.
Let's send Kayler to Canton. we need like a GoFundMe. I'm just kidding.
I need at least 2 local teams.
Yes. At least 2. Not named Marion local. We know they're going to win. We'll see. All right, Two Sports Overtime. We'll see you next week and this week for all your high school playoff action, and hopefully we'll see you for a state championship team. We'll take a couple local ones. Operation Football Preview signing off for the last time in 2025.